I'm cool with you. I'll be cool with you. Get up on it. If you want my time, get up on it. If you want my love, baby, you can get it. I love the way, I love the way, I love the way. Hair long, 30 inches, hella bad. 6 inches on my feet.
Yeah, y'all meet Jay. What it do? Look, I know we've been talking about kicking it, no need to play, girl. You know you the shit with it, prepping your meals, got a plan and you stick with it, girl. You look good in them jeans with the rips in it. Time is like money, be careful with spending it. I just want to limit the Benjamin so I can cop you that Lexus you wish to get more than enough bread to pay your tuition with. We met on your birthday, it might have been Thursday, my first time in Niles. You got what I wanted, no reason to stunt. I've been stuck in denial. With that junk in the trunk when you jump in that truck and you chuckle and smile. I need more than some rum to forget about them buns, girl. Is you from Ohio? Don't know why I hesitated in the first place. Cooper's hope when you get off if I don't work late. Cause I'm a type of guy to show up at your workplace just to give you flowers for your workspace. It's down each. If I want it, I get it. The youngest lieutenant, turn up till I'm finished. Those couple of women that's up in my business get nothing. They front and you got something different. And
I need something new.
Yeah,
I need something new.
Yeah, I need it.
All these girls the same. Girl, what's up with you? I need something new. I need something new. All these girls the same. Girl, what's up with you? I need something new.
Yeah, I need it. Yeah, I need it.
I need something new.
What's up with you?
I need something new.
Yeah, I need it.
All these girls the same. Girl, what's up with you?
Yeah, really. I need something new now. What's up with you? It might be you, you know. Shit.
What's up with you? What's up with you?
I mean, look. Me and Willie hit you on the Snapchat. I just wanna send you something you can laugh at. Doing stuff to make you blush when you first watch. It was in Shane's spot where we crash at. Always focused on the money, gotta stack that. But sometimes I gotta teach you how your day going. And even if you tell me it ain't that bad, I'ma try to make you smile, that's why I stay joking. You know this when a nigga drop a song. Type of shit that made me wanna hit you on your phone. Asking who you with it, and if you stay at home alone, we should go out there and lunch and maybe kick it what you want. Bottle of Moscato, I can cop it when you're ready. I've been thinking about it ever since I left Miami. Ain't nobody yakking, but I'm rapping for a Grammy. Trying to show you I'm the captain, get the napkin. This Marzetti gon' be good with the shit I cook up. I'm waiting here, patient, no pacing. I'm taking my time. I got wine in this age, and these rhymes that I'm writing, my mind has been thinking. No lie, I can't fake it.
Fake it.
You got something new, please don't get too confused. I'm just speaking the truth. Press repeat on this song so you don't get it wrong, girl. It's all about you.
I need something new. I need something new. All these girls the same. Girl, what's up with you? I need something new. I need something new. All these girls the same. Girl, what's up with you? I need something new. I need something new. I need something new. All these girls the same. Girl, what's up with you?
Yeah, I need it. Yeah, I need it. They're the same. What's up with you? Yeah, I need it. Yeah, I need it. They're the same. What's up with you? Yeah. What's up with you? Woo! 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 Woo!
I've been ballin' like LeBron. 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 Ballin' on them 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 like LeBron. I've been ballin' like LeBron. I've been ballin' like LeBron. I've been ballin' like LeBron. Step on my LeBron. from St. Clair and ate there. Where you from? Lately I've been going dumb. Count money till my fingers numb. For the that been hating on me, you can suck it, replace the thumb. Oh yeah, I've been dominating. Oh yeah, they been commentating. When they ask the people who the best, you know I be the topic of the conversation. I've been balling like LeBron. 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 Balling on them 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 like LeBron. I've been balling like LeBron. I've been balling like LeBron. Jabal. You can catch me ballin' on him. Jabal. You can catch me ballin' on him. I've been ballin' like I'm 23.
And welcome to another edition of Spotlight of Columbus on WTMH Radio. Thank you again today for listening. We have an awesome show today. We have Mr. Charles Richardson, and we also have Amira. And Amira, I apologize, I did not get your last name on there, but what was the last name again?
Kidd.
That's right. I did get that. Okay. So, an Amira Kidd, and we are actually going to be talking to them today as far as two different books that I love. I've read both of them, and they are, I love them. I really
Thank you.
The first one is The Naked Lady, and that's the first version. And then we also have Allure of a Predator. If you haven't seen or heard about these books, you need, and I'm going to let them talk about it, but you need to find it, get it. I'm going to have them tell the website if that's what they need, but everything on that. Last week we had, some talented, week before last we had some talented people. We had, a band that was here. We also had a gentleman, his name is Demetrius, but they call him Meach.
Don Meach.
Yeah, Don Meach, that was on here. So we have a lot of good talent this year. But what I want to focus on today, as far as, of course, the book, what you guys are doing, why you decided to do this in Columbus, Ohio, and what's your inspiration, or how to talk to people about the inspiration as far as if it's something they want to do today.
Okay. Well, I'll start again. The first book was called Allure of the Predator. That's the first book, and The Naked Lady is a sequel to that. And I wanted to write Allure because it was a story that I knew about, and I knew it was something that had to be shared, in my opinion. Now, what's happening in the world today about all this male predator.
Exactly.
Now, my book has a little twist to it. It's a female predator. I don't know if anyone has met any of those, but they're around.
Right.
But there's but the emphasis on the book is just to talk about, it's not agenda, it's about an attitude. So it's not females, males, it's just people who have issues. And one of the issues expressed in this book is talking about narcissistic personality disorder.
Exactly.
And it's a disorder that people just feel everything revolves around them. They don't care about anyone else. And you know, we have met some of those people as well.
Exactly.
So my goal was to tell that story and try to do it in a way where it could be positive. Like, okay, when you encounter a situation like that, what should you do? What's the best way to do it? And basically that's what the book explores.
Well, I was really intrigued, I think, with this son's perception. I mean, just not just of himself and, you know, the things that he was doing, but his mother, you know, and, you know, with the marriages and I mean, her, like, she can like flip the switch, or I mean, just so quickly.
Right.
I mean, like to be like with this loving person, but then off just one whim, she can be somebody that I mean, you don't even know.
Yeah, and that's basically developed in The Naked Lady.
Exactly.
One of the reasons why I wanted to collaborate with Amira was because I wanted another perspective. The first book is more like a memoir, but it's not a memoir because it's not about a person. It's fictional person, but it has to do with true events. When the book ended, a lot of people said, well, what happened to that person? What happened? What's going on? And that's when I talked to Amira, and she just took it to answer some of those questions and then took it to a whole nother level.
So when you decided to do this, had you read this book, or is this something that you decided, okay, well, I'm going to get into it, you know, because I know what he's speaking of, and how did that work out?
Well, I did. I read the book. It just so happened that we found out that both of us, I had written a book and he was writing a book. So he would ask me a lot of questions about, you know, things that he should be thinking about, and, you know, things like that. So I was giving him some tips, little tips there. And we started talking. He said, you know, you should read my book and, you know, see what you think of it. Maybe we can work together sometime, you know, later on. So I read it, and I really did like what I read, and the content that was in it was, you know, pretty in depth, and how you could build on that. And so that's how we started with The Naked Lady, because what he wanted that main character, Marlene, to be more in depth and more developed. I mean, you get a sense of her in the first book.
It's a lot more detailed in the second
Exactly.
book. A lot more, because I was like, oh my God. So with that being said, what I would say, as far as what brought you, or what made you decide to write a book like this, as far as,
you know what, in my career, I was a broadcaster. What brought me to Columbus was I was the manager of Power 107, Magic 98.9, and Joy 106.3. So I came from Birmingham, Alabama to here. And but I had this story in my head for like 20 years. And I said, you know what, I have time now to really settle down and write this book. And I'm not a writer. I wrote business papers, but I never wrote like a novel.
Right.
And again, so I had to get some insight from people. Like the first publisher was Syrup Books, and they're out of Columbus. And there's a dear friend of mine who was the publisher, and I got together with her and her daughter, who I met when she was 4. Now she's 24 and brilliant, and she helped edit the book. And it's just something that I had time to do and sit down and do once I separated from broadcasting, and I did it. And again, it's topical now, and my whole point in the book was talking about the story, and then talking about, okay, how can you deal with the story? So it's like suspenseful. It has some, you know, sexual connotations.
Yes, it does. Very much so.
Right, and then it gets to be clinical, because you know, okay, what's wrong with this person? And then it gets spiritual. And that's what basically I wanted to express. Now, some of the pushback I've gotten is that, well, I want a book that's all sexual or all clinical or all self-help. But that's not how the Lord led me to this book.
Exactly.
And so that's why I did it the way I did it. But The Naked Lady is a story that could stand alone. I mean, you don't really have to read my book, because it covers all the aspects that I tried to develop in mind. Yes, yes.
So on that note, tell us, because you were telling us about 107.5, tell us how you got started here in Columbus, Ohio, and what made you decide to come to Columbus, Ohio.
Okay. Well, again, I was in Birmingham, Alabama. My broadcast career started in New York. I'm in New York. So when you hear water dog, you kind of hear that accent slip out. I try to hide it, but it doesn't work all the time. So I started in New York, and then my company bought some stations out in the Bay Area, and then also in LA. So I was based in San Francisco and traveled back and forth between LA and San Francisco. And that was on the administrative side of business. But I saw most people in radio, if they're not like top management, the salespeople make the most money. So I said, I need to get on that side of the check. So I got exposed to sales, and I developed into being an administrative manager. Got my first VP general manager's job in St. Louis. So I went from the East Coast, West Coast, Midwest. I've always been blessed in terms of either a headhunter or an owner of a station would call me and say, I heard about you, I want you to come down. So from St. Louis, I went to Georgia, Columbus, Georgia to Birmingham, Alabama. And by the way, when I got down there, my friends said, where are you now? And I said, well, I'm in Birmingham. So they said, oh no, he's down there with the rednecks. And I said, but that's the best place I've ever lived in terms of cost of living.
Much cheaper.
Climate, yes. And then the people were wonderful. So, but how I got to Columbus, a gentleman, his name was Ross Love. I had never heard of him before he came towards me and called me. He was vice president of advertising worldwide for P&G.
Okay.
So he controlled their $3 billion advertising budget. That's who he was. So once he called me and said, listen, I'm starting this radio company, and I heard about you, and I want to interview about this properties we're going to start developing in Columbus. Long story short, in about 6 months, he made me an offer I couldn't refuse. I got here in 1997. So I've been here like 20 years. That's as long as I've been anywhere other than New York.
So when you were talking about the sales and headhunting, on somebody that doesn't know exactly what that means, can you go into detail as far as when you're doing the sales, as far as the radio, and that's where the money is?
Well, yeah, well, the sales is a profit center of radio, of everything really. You make money from the commercials you sell, and a lot of people outside. When I've never thought of radio being a career for me, because I was always like a business type person. But a radio station is a business.
Exactly.
And you have different elements. You have sales, you have administrative, and then you have the talent and the engineer. So you have all those components under one roof. And the key as a general manager is try to make them work cohesively together. And but a headhunter is basically like a personnel company that targets people and matches them with opportunity. So my job that I got in Birmingham was a headhunter. A major company recruited me to interview with that company in Birmingham, and that's how I got there.
Awesome, that's awesome. Now, Miss Amira, what got you? Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do now, how you got started. How long you've been in Columbus?
Well, I've been in and out of Columbus. So I've been in Columbus, I think now 7, almost 8 years. I was overseas when I wrote my second book, The Monkey King. I was living in Dubai. So I actually went off to do that. Before that, before leaving to go to Dubai, I was working as head editor of Monarch Magazine when it was here in Columbus.
Monarch Magazine. Yeah, I used to. We did a couple things with them with Columbus Black.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
We were doing some, so I do remember that.
Yeah.
That was back in the early 2000.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I think I left there in 2000. I left there in 2008. 2008. Went from there. I decided that I wanted to do my own thing because the magazine just kept you going. I mean, you're working 24/7 doing it. I loved it. I love doing the interviews and talking to people and being able to bring what I thought was important to the table and sharing it with the public story-wise, you know, with all content writers with me. But I needed to do something for myself. I mean, it was like with the magazine, you're really working for someone else. You're working for that publisher, you know, that wants a certain aspect, wants a certain style. And that's it. You know, on time. So it's bam, bam, bam every day. So I loved it. I enjoyed it. And I think because I loved it, I was working 24/7. But I was like, wait a minute, what's my goal here?
Right.
And my goal, I think since I was 10 years old, was to sit down and write books all my life. So that's my focus.
So what took you to Dubai? What made you decide to go to Dubai?
Well, I was looking for something that would give me the leniency to write and give me another perspective, on the world. And to tell you the truth, just with some friends that have been from all over the place from my university years, a lot of them lived over in Dubai and some other places. And I was going to take a teaching job, actually, over in Korea. And I was telling some friends, I was calling everyone saying, hey, let's don't contact me for a month or so because I'm going off to Korea to take this position. And I have a good friend. He's like, hey, why don't you come over here to Dubai? They have some great jobs. I'm like, I know what it's about. I'll go. Yeah, I'll come and visit you and whatever else. But I checked out some positions, got a very good one. I actually became a principal over there for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that came back here. But during that time over there, I wrote my second book, really enjoyed it. And it was that new perspective, a different perspective on life. And it was from that point on, I was like, okay, this is my focus. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to write. And I just happened to run into him and we decided on writing The Naked Lady.
And it's so funny because it's the same thing. I was on another place that I love going to is Panera. And that's how honestly, that's how I end up seeing Charles.
Really?
One of the young ladies that actually works at Panera, who I love to death. You know who I'm talking about. She loves you to death. But she actually Patrice, you're doing all of this stuff and I want you to meet, and because they were just getting ready to come out and leave. And who was the gentleman you were with?
Charles McCrimmon.
Yeah,
he owns Matrix Media and also Talktainment Radio, who I helped consult. When they started up.
Yeah, and he was comical.
He's hilarious.
He was comical the whole time. And from that point, when he was telling me about the books, the author, and and he was telling me, just a little bit, not much about the journey, just a little bit. And next thing I know, I was telling him, I want you on my show.
Oh, wow.
And it seemed like it took a minute with everything that was going on. With everything that was going on and me putting a lot of stuff together, but I knew I wanted him. And it was so funny because then when he called me, I was like, I was just getting ready to call you. It's just been like that because of the fact that when he gave me those books, because he gave it to me.
Okay.
It's like, I was energized from there to get you both on the show.
Wow.
To make sure you were on there. It was one time I was like, I know it's not last minute. Can I get you today? I was like, no.
You sound just like him there.
Yeah, and I did. I was like, why can't we get you today? Now, your brother. Go ahead and tell us who he is too. Or is he your brother, Kahari?
No, Kahari is Charles McCrimmon's brother.
Yeah, right.
But Kahari worked for me at Power 107 and Magic. He was on
Straight Talk Live.
Yeah, there it is. It's still happening.
Yes, still happening.
He's an amazing man.
He cracks me up.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, he is so confrontational. He makes someone argue.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, okay, well, you say it. So, with that being said, you guys have been all over. Dubai. You've gone. Been to New York. What centered you to Columbus? I know you said the radio station, but you've done that, been there, done that, and you're still here.
Yeah,
you've done there. You've done your book. You've been in Dubai, and you're still here.
Yeah.
This is what the platform is as far as Columbus, Ohio. I know, a lot of people want to go to New York. They want to go to California. I'm going to make it. This is the thing.
Right.
What makes Columbus, do you, or in your own opinions, the place to just branch out?
I'll let you go first.
Okay. Well, I got here because of my radio career, but you just fall in love with Columbus. It's a great place to live. Cost of living is wonderful, especially East Coast, West Coast. This is wonderful. And also to raise a kid. My son, my youngest, I have older children. My daughter's a school teacher. She teaches math in New York.
Okay.
Got my first grandbaby from her 3 years ago. Then I have a middle son, and then I have my younger son, who's now 20. When he got here, he was 9 months old. And he just was raised here. So this Columbus is his home. And like I said, there's a great place to raise a kid. Great education opportunities in terms of the universities and down to elementary schools. And it was just very comfortable to stay. And then so when I had a chance to leave, they didn't make me off. I couldn't refuse.
That was great. Okay, so with that be, and what about you?
And it would actually be the same thing economically when it comes to Columbus. It's a smart place to be. I mean, I left the country, I came back. I'm originally from Alabama. So, my mom's like, why don't you come back here? I'm like, I would. But if there were something there to keep me economically, I would do that. I love it. I love home, But strategically smart, this is a best place to be, especially if you're an entrepreneur and you're doing things like this, because you're in that middle, and you can reach out to so many different places.
And as far as media is concerned, Columbus is like a test market because the way the demographics are set up is almost like basically the United States in one place in terms of the composition of the population. So I think
just in the last maybe 7 years, we've gotten 3 more, new radio stations that, just popped up.
Radio One, who I used to work for.
Exactly.
Yeah, they and my challenge with that is, because the Black population is not as high as like DC, where they're basically based in the Maryland area. I didn't know if 5 urban stations can be supported here, but they're still here and they're still working, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I try to listen to all of them when I can.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're going to do, I am going to come back because I want to, still talk some more about the book.
Okay, great.
I want to go into the book that you were speaking of too, which, and what is it called?
The Monkey King?
The Monkey King. I do want to get into that and what inspired you to do that. We're going to do that when we come back. And we're going to listen to a little bit more music now. Please stay tuned. And also, if you have any questions, give us a call, 614-781-0754. Again, this is WTMH Radio, Spotlight of Columbus. Call us.
Throughout my journey, it's like everyone always wants to know if there really is a God or if they are a God. I've been through both sides of it. I went through too much. I think I found God, but know them not believe. I'm thinking like a God, look on me like I did. I think if there's a God, it will lead me through the seasons. Since it is my God, and I'm here for many reasons. Until I find God, I'm going hard for all my dreams. And still I like this guy, cause every struggle brings some teachings. I haven't seen God, I leap with faith straight off the deep end. Had combos with God, retrace my steps and learn to see. Reason one, since I was young, I've been my father's oldest son. Wouldn't listen, not one word when my mama had told me, son. Back in the days, I roamed the streets with real ones, not with those who front. Kept it quiet, moved in silence, learned too quick to hold my tongue. From a young man, see it clear, I'm a fall if I stand. Work tree drop, I'm bust my plate. Think I got more up on plan. Never learning in the kitchen, no for cook the roast pan. Foot pan road can't come with salt, make sure you never soak for long. Make things right in there somewhere, God knows I really load some wrongs. I've got some lessons I could share that could make the younger strong. Frequencies will start to rise, I'm here to set the undertone. Create a legacy so strong it reaches through the times not gone. Start things off, I got for real, me feel me lost, I yo me done. So I get them back just for sure. Oh, them stronger than diving at this life, it thought on earth like blowing gal. Learn some life, I share it wrong, make some move and grow my songs. I think I found God, me know them not believe. I'm thinking like a God, look on me like I did. I think if there's a God, it will lead me through the seasons. Since it is my God, and I'm here for many reasons. Until I find God, I'm going hard for all my dreams. And still I like this guy, cause every struggle brings some teachings. I haven't seen God, I leap with faith straight off the deep end. Had combos with God, retrace my steps and learn a sequence. Spread my roots like tree trunk culture, I for eat them free lunch. Can't really trust who go run them big. Fly from that like seagull, foot pun game up just like knee cups. Time and man got so free up all the space me need for change the world. Me swear me think like Jesus. To flip the game, I flip myself and made my name a re-up. I'll earn my stripes, I'm black, no white. I kick it like Adidas. Do what I say and mean it. Keep the practice of good breathing. My blood stick, it's time to clear the air. I feel this vibe is decent. Pray for I'm a gold sense. Blessing come round frequent. Work hard every day. Mo wake up, I'm still not get no sleep yet. From one my ear, then God in me. And that not come from deacon. Man must rise like sun. Come my life never raise a weak one. If their vibe is draining, then I got no choice, just leave them. I'm becoming godly. Blood is cleansed from feeding all these leeches. A long way out till I start balling. I see they'll be reaching. I heard God is us and I is him. It takes some time to ease it. I think I found God, me know them not believe. I'm thinking like a God, look on me like a D. I think if there's a God, it will lead me through the seasons. Since it is my God, and I'm here for many reasons. Until I find God, I'm going hard for all my dreams. And still I like this guy, cause every struggle brings some teachings. I haven't seen God, I'll leap with faith straight off the deep end. Had combos with God, retrace my steps and learn the sequence. Ayo, Barry Mars, how many times you done said lying all the niggas seated at the throne? How much time them off and tell me once your boy came of age, now he's grown? How many times you done said when the music turn me up, got this, y'all go? How much time them off and tell me pay attention, this things you should know. If you don't understand, then you never will. Brethren, they KU4J, typing out a better whip. Something off a beat, but no say life get better still. Might not go around the thing, but won't come off the Ferris wheel. Time keep going this fast, seems very astounded. General, that's generous, I might tell Ellen about it. Legionnaire, that's so sick, you can't get nowhere around us. Phone calls to lift some money, but my pound in the couch, yeah. Me swear this thing I crosses. Got the wind, move, I road this up cautious. Them not gonna know how much time I lost it. Lost world, just attack with my last friends. Make we step up, got a long time we want win. No know about you, but me tired of the losses. Emperor, liquor, yeah, do that, turn over foreign. How many times you done said, lying all the niggas seated at the throne? How much time them off and tell me once your boy came of age, now he's grown? How many times you done said, when the music turn me up, got this, y'all go? How much time them off and tell me, pay attention, this things you should know. Me never know, said the word that they broke up. Me break up the belly of the beast, that when me fuck up. Me wake up, feeling me splash the water vapor. Them take me for dead if them ever make me shut up. Kingston up to foreign and my daddy was with me. No J.O. and J.V., future man of the city. Straight hard for the magic, it was there I was blessed with. Life good, got a book, I was meant to be tested. Young Israelite, trying to leave a king print. They wanna send out shots to me, but didn't know I binge drank. 3 eyes got me. Seeing what you think is straight hot air clouds. You figured out the blimp is way up. I can see the skies. Don't try to swear, but just breathe the lines. Moving turtle slow, cause I don't need a disguise. Nas told me get the world, I can see that it's mine. What make you sour? Chewing pieces of lime. Mad the odd man out, really isn't his prime. Run for home base, I don't think it's a crime. Remember Richie be unruly, I'm ingrained in the times. How many times you done said, lying all the niggas seated at the throne? How much time them off and tell me once your boy came of age, now he's grown? How many times you done said, when the music turn me up, got this, y'all go? How much time them off and tell me, pay attention, this things you should know.
And we are back. Welcome again to Spotlight of Columbus on WTMH Radio. We have just had a conversation, and I know you guys remember this conversation from the last week when we were talking about, for one, the ugly sweater. And how he was telling me that I'm going to lose just because I said that you can have an ugly sweater on that still can look cute and win a contest. Okay, so he's taking his, he's taking his microphone off. But we have guests and panels that we are actually going to ask this same question to.
Everybody, y'all got to excuse her because she has her audience today, so she feel like she's going to win last week's argument. Cause like she really like, oh man, I don't even want, all right, bye.
So, Mr. William, okay, tell me, have you ever been to a party? And I'm sure you've been to at least one ugly sweater party, whether it's Christmas or something else, that you have seen a girl that has a sweater on that's ugly, but because of the way she wore it was cute.
Might not have been looking at the sweater.
There you go. There you go.
I was going to bring that up earlier, actually.
I plead the fifth.
You can't plead the fifth. You have to give some kind of.
That's his right.
No.
She trying to Donald Trump you, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, not Donald Trump.
She trying to say you can't plead the
United States. I do have and can use my Fifth Amendment.
So
right.
to me, that's like saying yes, but I don't want to say it.
Nope.
Okay.
That's
the whole point of pleading the fifth.
Yeah.
There it is.
Assume what you want.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right, fifth.
So, Miss Amira, okay, this is what I have to deal with on a regular.
She's big
That's why I'm
mad.
so glad you're here today.
All right, I'm here for you.
You tell me, okay, because we just talked about it. Can you wear a ugly sweater that still looks cute on you?
You can wear an ugly sweater that still looks cute. I remember actually last year I had a friend, a co-worker, who created an ugly sweater.
Right.
But it was done so well
that it still
looked cute, and they won.
Thank you.
And they won.
Now that is documented. That's documented right there. Did you hear what she said?
Hold on. Who held the event? Who held the event?
It was a company event, very corporate.
Company.
You what she said? Corporate.
Oh, no, wait a minute.
Corporate. Their rules are different. We have, excuse my language, we having a Negro event.
It's very urban.
And our rules, urban. I just said urban. And our rules don't apply to everybody else's.
Well, then
okay, we got to hear those rules.
I need to be a part of the judge because it's not going to be fair. It's not going to be.
She needs to be a judge.
I'm going to be a judge on it because
you see how she emotionally right now. It didn't even happen. She can't be a judge.
Yes, I can.
She can't be a judge.
Because you guys are going to dominate everything.
Who is y'all? We didn't even say there was going to be judges or nothing.
How's everybody going to win?
How are they going to win?
When everybody get drunk, we're going to say whose shirt is the ugliest. Whoever's shirt the ugliest is going to be, they're going to win.
I think you just lost that one.
No, because she's going to talk about the panel on the judges. We just like, okay.
So what? Everybody's going to raise their hand on who's
going to be
like
Doug.
Bring them up in the front and say, okay, everybody raise their hand.
But this is how we going to factor who wins the ugly sweater. No, whoever brings in the best dish is probably going to win.
Oh, well then I won. I won. Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you like the seafood Alfredo?
That's all right.
Oh wow.
See, everything is all right.
I'm a seafood lover, but I told her I eat any seafood, so yes, it was good. It could have been more seafood than it was the juice.
Okay, so you need to talk to the kids. Everybody except that one, not him.
Oh, okay.
Because he didn't get to get it.
But
the rest of them,
it was good. It was good.
Homemade seafood Alfredo.
Really?
With no noodles.
Scallops.
Oh, no noodles.
It was juice and seafood.
No, well, that's because the kids
ate
soup.
Yes. Yeah, it was seafood soup.
So he had, he had a seafood soup. Anyway, but he still ate every single bit of it.
It was good. And it was good.
But I tried to get him yes before the kids got to it, but that just didn't.
So I put my request in and said, whenever you about to make it, just put mine to the side. Like you ain't got to ask me if I want it. Just bring it in.
I need to get that recipe.
He made sure to text me like, excuse me, you gotta be at work and such and such. Bring my. I was like,
yeah, because it was getting late. I was like, hold on, man. She said 6 o'clock. Like, what you doing out here?
Let me just be honest with you real quick. This ain't gonna be no banana pudding efforts, okay?
What's that?
That's talking to you personally.
They don't like me sharing the banana pudding that I make. I make a homemade.
No, I'm just talking about seafood in general too. I know how
he's telling you not to feed me.
Pretty much. It's the truth. No, say it right, because they really are. They literally tell me when I make banana pudding for work.
Don't share it.
They'll be like, why?
No,
I mean, even though they have one, I'll make two. And they literally have an issue still that I made one.
So now you got to make 3 or 4. That's only fair now.
There it is. It's only fair. As long as I get mine.
I'll even put it on the ingredients.
You still get mad. And the thing about it is the banana pudding
So
there
you still
never
get
lasts
bad
for the whole
ingredients.
day. Ooh, no.
I haven't had banana pudding in a long time.
Listen.
Yeah. Well, I'm
We
going to make
didn't
one.
we didn't have banana pudding.
Oh, okay then.
We'll
definitely be here for that.
So with the seafood, though, I use fresh scallops, and they're about this big.
Oh wow.
I have not lobster claws, like the meat of the lobster claws in it. And I also have the jumbo shrimp.
Okay.
So, and to make sure it doesn't get like real small, I steam them so it doesn't like shrink, because shrimp will shrink really quick.
Right.
And then I season everything, use my Alfredo sauce. And like I said, if you look on my Facebook page, you'll see it. And it was like, next thing I know, by the time I got home from work, everybody was at my door waiting for me to come in the door.
Wow.
Because I had came to work. And then, but I didn't eat anything. I was like, okay, I'm going to eat, some when I get home. And everybody was there when I got back from the show.
Now,
That sounds so good.
Yeah.
I need some.
Patrice, now one of the things I through my career, I've worked with like legendary people, and they would tell me their story, just like the story you're telling now. And I would say, why don't you write a book? So you need to write a cookbook. I think that would work.
See,
that might be the next stage of Miss Patrice Moore.
She ain't gonna do it.
I never really started like cooking until after the kids got older, because I worked so much that it was their dad that did most of the cooking.
Okay.
Like, I mean, and he's really good
But
cook.
she does cook.
But my thing is, he likes cooking like the home, like down south.
Oh, down south,
Where I was like, I don't want to eat that heavy all the time.
okay.
Yeah, so I was all into the fish and seafood, and and making like healthy dishes, like where baked fish and baked salmon. Which the next thing that I am going to make is salmon, and I'm using a brown sugar with a lemon. I'm putting the brown sugar lemon together with the seasonings, and I'm going to actually let the salmon sit in it for a day. Marinate it, and then actually bake it with some garlic potatoes.
Is that going to be at the Christmas?
Why
she might win. She might win with that, right?
Like, hey.
Yeah, so it's like I just started really because I love fish so much and I love seafood so much that I've just been doing just different things creative wise, and then they come out great, and I'm like, yay! Let me put it on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yay! Let me put it on Facebook.
See, there you go, cooking show.
Yep,
that's it.
Cooking with Patrice.
Damn,
sounds like a
nice.
Damn.
Disclaimer.
Okay, so the next thing, because then we're going to get back into your thing, and I just want to make sure we know about this too, because this is something else he'll be quiet on.
Oh yes.
Our lovely Christmas all the time drinks from.
This is round 2.
Round 2.
Yep. Ding ding.
So I brought Chacon in a chai tea frappuccino. Now, I can honestly say that I've tasted a better one, because, I mean, I don't know if the young lady just didn't make it well. It was still okay. So I do give them the okay thing on this. So I agree with them on this one. But we have to just like Miss Amira said, bring him into it.
We have to take him
not
in
gonna do it.
there.
This is no longer bringing someone in.
I'm not about to, I don't even like shopping. Like, I'm not about to go in Starbucks and be confused. Man, listen, no, I'm not gonna do it.
Come on, you've never been at Starbucks?
I'm not big on it like that.
Okay,
that's actually good to say in a way.
But at the store, like at Kroger's, I get the little frappuccino.
That
Starbucks
is not.
See, look at you, so emotional.
Time out.
It's just a coffee. It's more of a coffee than a.
Yeah.
It still has the label.
Yes, it does.
Starbucks.
And it's expensive
too. Starbucks is endorsing.
I don't drink it.
See?
I don't drink it.
You used to.
See, that's why she can't be a judge of nothing, because she's emotionally already. She's already judgmental about it. Like, but it's what I like.
So what I have today is a caramel brulee.
Oh, I've had the. That's good.
Very good.
Bougie.
That's really good.
I know, right?
Pinky,
I can't even spell brulee. Like, I ain't about to drink it.
It sounds like a drink that you need your pinky out.
Really?
That's what it is.
And you never drunk it, sir?
Not a brulee.
Yes, you have.
Uh-oh.
You just didn't know that's what it was.
Oh. She tricked you.
She set me up.
Now you got to watch the label.
I'm looking at all labels from now on. Anything that comes in the container.
Yeah, go ahead and look at it. It's good.
I apologize about that one.
Starbucks so expensive. They got this cheapo receipt on the side. Nah, let me leave y'all.
They got the sticky receipt. The sticky receipt.
That's to make sure that the person that's making it makes it the way it's supposed to be made.
Well, it didn't work.
She said it's
Remember,
sticky.
you said they messed it up. So
they missed some type of ingredient.
All right.
They're new.
But you said it yourself that they messed up, right?
Yeah.
So the sticker is wrong.
They did.
So the sticker means nothing at Starbucks.
No, the sticker is right. They just didn't put enough.
He's hurting us right now.
Like, yeah, your case
hurt
just.
my heart.
It's like the case was like right
that's
here.
Why
And
you
then
keep
just
me
dropped.
going because
Just
I feel
saying.
right here like I said.
There you go.
I said
You better stop
no.
now before she actually finds something that you like.
Okay. I'm not.
Everything
Listen.
that I bought in here, he likes. He just doesn't like to admit.
No, it ain't that. Like when I went on a couple cruises, like I do a lot of exotic eating and tasting stuff, and it's just some things that if I'm not a big fan of that category, I'm probably never going to really just like, ooh, I need another one. Like, no. Hey, nah, it's not gonna do it. But I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm not gonna go buy it. I'm gonna forget about it. I don't even know how you say it. Tai Chi.
That's not what I said.
Tai Chi.
That's not what I said.
What does it say?
Time out. Do not get my drink wrong.
What does it say? Say it again.
Chai tea.
Yeah, that's
what?
his
I said
drink.
chai tea.
That's his
Oh
drink.
wow.
Yeah.
I messed it up by a couple letters. I was close.
Listen.
Backwards.
Tai Chi, Chai tea.
Tai Chi is martial arts. Chai tea.
That's pretty good.
They should have
Use that for advertising.
They should have put some more kick of cinnamon in here, and then you've been all right. Now let me stop.
No, the cinnamon does make it a little bit better though.
I can tell it because, like I said, it smells good. I give you that.
It smells,
but
like
it don't smell like the taste.
It takes you right back to your
and
childhood.
honestly,
The taste
he
ain't
had
there.
me taste the one that he said he was like he's not going to like this because it doesn't taste like it's supposed to. Yeah, that's what he said when we were coming. I was like, I'm still giving it to him.
So basically, until the year ends, he's going to try to give me every star.
Oh, this is going to be like.
Oh, this the thing now.
One, she will find that you will like.
Yeah. So the next thing is the caramel brulee.
You like caramel, right?
Yeah, caramel.
Then you're gonna like the brulee.
Yeah,
man, listen. I'm from the hood. You could just give me some French vanilla coffee, and I'll be straight. I don't need to go all exotic. I ain't gonna remember the stuff. I'm like, let me get the brulee. Like, what is that? I don't know. Which one you want? I don't know. You got man. Just get the French vanilla. Like, I don't shop.
You might as well.
I hate. So look at her. She's over there boiling.
Because he said, because last week when we were talking about it, he was like, well, because I was like, I'm going to get you a venti. Because, you know, they get you to talk, you know, and he was like, what the heck is a venti? I was like, I was like, it's like a lard. And he was like, so why can't you just say lard? And I was like, because it's a venti.
Because it's Starbucks venti.
It's venti. A grande is a medium and a tall is a small.
Grande has never meant medium.
Yes.
It really did. It means big.
Yeah. Well,
that's what I was the argument. I'm like, let me get a grande, and they bring me in. I gotta say venti. Like, no, that should be.
So what you have there is a tall, which is a small. Tall,
okay.
small.
It's backwards.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're in the upside down.
Why are you acting like that with Starbucks and you know you feel good?
No, he said he likes it. He said he likes it.
Tea. I love my chai tea. I do it.
But you love my drink.
I get one every time.
You have to have an audience to win.
I go to work.
You do not. You have to be on top of every mountain.
Because he loves the drink. I don't understand.
I love my chai tea. Yes,
and
I
you
do.
love my drink.
First time in WTMH history, it's been an argument over Starbucks.
I don't understand it. Like,
and I'm new to it. She's trying to get me to convert to her side.
It's like, so funny because we were talking about it, and I was like, I can tell you where every Starbucks is in Columbus,
and she can,
and they already know when I come what drink I want.
That's bad.
Okay, now you're good.
Yeah,
I'm not that good.
No, that's bad.
Somebody say
that's bad.
You'll be like, how the heck do they be?
Because no, she rolls up. She would roll up to the window, and they say, "Hi, Patrice." I'm looking like, we ain't never lived on the west side before. How do you know her? Like I think they got favorite customer in her face right there. Like,
okay,
you got a member.
Well,
I probably know where everyone is, but not.
They love it. They want to go because they always give me extra or a second one for free.
Oh, wow.
That's a good reason to go.
It got bad when my company, Huntington, actually put one.
That's what
in our
she was talking
building.
about.
That's what messed me up because I could function.
See it. They have these windows
without
and you can literally see it.
And then once they put it in there, I was
like, it's there.
It's like I walk in, chai tea. You need one? What?
And it's free, right?
And it's free. No.
Oh, you have to buy
He said no. We get discounts. Listen. Huntington and Starbucks do not have that partnership just yet. Keyword. Just yet. Yeah. I'm about to try to make that happen.
They made the kids made me feel bad though that day when they were like, "How is it that you can go?" I mean, like literally, we wasn't even at the window. They hear my voice and they.
Hi, Patrice.
Oh, you want your regular?
Wow.
And my regular is actually a Java chip frappuccino.
And
I haven't tried that.
Yeah,
no.
With
banana and hazelnut.
You got to add a banana, hazelnut, and a shot of espresso. It's over.
Listen, to make her day.
Okay,
all you gotta do.
Seriously, I mean, even then, when I put it together like that, they drink it. They'll tell me like, "Oh my God, Patrice, that is so good. We never even thought about making anything like that." So even the
what's the banana for?
Wow, created it.
Yeah, because they have the Java chip frappuccino, but I put everything else.
Yeah,
they said, "What? Why the banana?" She said, "For potassium."
Health.
That's the most healthiest part of the drink.
Is that what you got me last week?
Yep.
Is that what that was?
Gave you the bow.
It wasn't bad, but it like I could have done without the banana in it. You know what I'm saying? That the flavor of that was. I think that's what.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I believe you. Trust me.
Just go with the. Just lead out with the potassium.
We'll leave off with potassium.
I think tomorrow morning that'll be my goal.
You want me to text you?
This what people do.
Exactly how to make it.
Yes,
I'll text it to you.
Okay.
Most of the time,
this is like regular people do this.
Yeah, well,
I guess
that's why I said I stay with chai tea. That's.
You are so over yourself right now.
It's solid. It's solid. It's always a go-to.
Anybody.
It gets the job done.
Okay.
All right now.
And efficiently.
Well, and just to let you know, depending on which one you go to, most of them, like I said, they'll probably think you're me because I'm the only one that comes through there to get that specific drink.
Okay.
And then they'll look like, because they do that with like, we thought it was, Patrice, like when my daughter.
Where's your? Oh, okay.
It's my daughter, yeah. Born me. But okay, we're going back. We're going to focus back on what we're here for, because that was like,
and we're back.
You're gonna love Starbucks.
No, I'm not.
She's gonna make you love Starbucks.
You need that button, and we're back. I'm telling you.
I'm getting a coffee maker, put it right here, and I'm just making everything smell like French vanilla. Every time you come in, I'm just cut it on and just let it brew.
Do you understand? When I wake up, that's the first thing I think about.
That's what?
I literally, that's what motivates me to get up and take the shower, get dressed, and I'm like, Starbucks.
Getting that coffee.
You have a habit. You need to go talk to somebody about that.
It's like
you need to go to one of the neighbors. That's bad.
It's like, this is your conscience. We need to go to Starbucks.
That's bad.
No, really.
Remember the banana and hazelnut.
I'm not my perky self. They'll go get it because they like, we can't deal with you.
Like a snake.
She about to go post them.
I don't know. It's just that they think I'm not as perky as I'm.
You never had that coffee.
See me walk in with it. They're like, okay, on break. What are we getting you?
What drink are we getting you today, Patrice? A banana and hazelnut. All righty.
See, that's what I'm saying. He's like making fun, but they don't say anything when they get the free drink.
Because it's free. He's not a fool. It's free.
And then my grandbaby.
You see, I can't complain too much either.
Nah, the pumpkin bread is very good.
No, I can believe that. I can believe that. I like actually,
I don't even like pumpkin.
I love pumpkin.
Like I don't like pumpkin, but
I love pumpkin.
Oh, that's how you can give it.
I love pumpkin. Like almost anything pumpkin. I don't know what it is. I love pumpkin.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
That's it.
Because you said why?
Yes.
Because man,
and
pumpkin. Growing up in the hood, pumpkin was bruh. Because you only got it certain times a year.
It's sweet potato.
Nah, I'm no sweet potato fan.
Yeah. Pumpkin pie, I can't do. They tried to get me 1 year and was like, oh, here you go. This is sweet potato pie. I said,
well, sweet potato pie, pumpkin pie. See, like, yeah. When it comes to the pies, I can eat the pies. Like
sweet potato pie that we eat.
I only eat my nanas.
She's from Columbus, Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
And when I say she puts her foot in a sweet potato pie
that's from
rice pudding.
From scratch.
Yeah, and rice pudding.
She makes rice pudding too?
Oh, scratch.
Listen.
Oh, wow.
Scratch. And anytime I'm mad at her, that's what I miss. Like,
oh my God.
It's that good. It's that good.
It's that good. I mean, like literally, they've had fights over the pies. Like my little
pies
brother,
have disappeared.
My little brother literally hides them when my mom makes them, like so nobody else can eat them. So they literally start tackling each other until they find the pies.
Wow.
Now, is your mom here now, or is she still down
No,
south?
she's been here. Yeah, she's been here
okay.
since I was like 2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, since I was 2 years old. Well, actually, yeah, because I still say I'm here from Columbus, Ohio. My mom tells me I was born in Los Angeles, but she came here.
Low Alabama, or like
no, Los Angeles, California.
Oh,
yeah,
the real
yeah,
LA.
I got family there. But I think we came here even probably before I was 2, maybe about 3 or 4.
Okay, so you grew up here.
Yeah, so I'm pretty much. So this is my city. Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like.
Oh, look at that! She's the mayor. This is my city.
That's what Spotlight of Columbus.
Yeah.
See,
I love it.
See that big banner back there. So anyway, now we're going to get back to why we have you guys here. I'm so glad you guys came. I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks for the invitation too.
Yeah,
really
I hope you
much.
guys are having a good time.
We are.
Oh, yeah.
I know you're
awesome.
looking like, Lord, they got coffee.
He said, "Where do we go?"
I thought when you're talking about ugly sweaters, I thought you were talking about me.
No, that's not us.
Okay.
Yeah, nah, you good.
All right,
That's the
thank you.
Huxtable stuff. I know, but honestly, I'm talking about the
Pineapple.
character.
Gave you the bill.
No, the character, not the actor.
Okay, thank
Wow.
you.
Yeah, let me
Okay.
say the character.
The doctor. The doctor.
Yeah,
Yeah, the doctor. Okay.
I'll say thank you now.
Yeah.
You put
Because I looked up to the
you're putting
Yeah. Yeah.
And Felicia Rashad, oh my God, they feel like my
Oh
mom is
my gosh.
Felicia Rashad. They feel like she looks as if.
Oh, wow.
Listen, she has the grace. Man, listen.
That's
I
your
wish
grandma.
I was. No. I'm
She's
talking about
Felicia
Oh, you're
Rashad.
the actress. Okay.
No,
okay.
listen.
Yeah.
I wish she was mine.
Oh, this guy.
My wife.
Wow.
My wife.
He said my wife.
I'm telling you.
My wife.
My wife.
We're over you now.
I do apologize. At least you can say I got taste. She's classic.
Yeah, I love her. I do. I love her to death.
She's
And
great.
actually, Otis just did a show, Empire, with her, and he actually paid her bodyguard on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's doing
Oh,
good. So
man.
we're gonna get
Yeah.
him in here too.
You have to.
But other than that, now we're gonna get to Miss Amira. Okay. So tell us. Okay, you were in Dubai, and you started thinking about the books, and then we got the book, Monkey King.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that book.
Well, I didn't know when I first went over there what I wanted to write. I just usually wait and let it come to me. But my first year there, I was a teacher, and I was in this kindergarten classroom. And it's an international school, one of the biggest schools, well-known schools over in the Middle East area. And a lot of kids from everywhere, came to the school, from Africa to France. It doesn't matter. They came there. Yeah, I even met someone because I went to Franklin University for a little while. He was bringing his daughter. He's like, I know you. I'm like, how do you? He's like, you went to Franklin, didn't you? I'm like, oh my gosh. He's
All the way
like,
in Dubai.
oh yeah, because
Right.
he was originally from Africa, but he was going to Franklin school. Then he traveled back and forth. So his job took him to Dubai, and so he was traveling back. He was like, I knew you're from somewhere. So we're so surprised, how small the world is.
Right.
But I was in the classroom, and I had this peculiar little guy in the classroom. His real name was Raiden. And Raiden's good-looking little kid, smart, very devilish though. And you have to think like we're in Arab country, very open, but still Arab country. And he would do some odd things, and you kind of have to watch the students when they're younger.
Right.
Like my assistant came up to me one day, and she's like, "Hey, have you gone to a ballet class lately?" Because all the students, because they're younger, they would take ballet for motor skills. And I said, no. She's like, you got to come to ballet. I'm like, why? This is usually like my lunch. Come to ballet. I'm like, all right, I'll come. So I go in, I sit in ballet, and we have this teacher from Romania. And she would have all the students line up on the wall, have them sit down, take off their shoes, and they show their socks. Because they have to take off their socks in order to start doing ballet, the shoes and socks. And so since they were younger, she would tell them, tell me what color are your socks, and everyone would go down. And I noticed when Raiden took his off, he had the girl socks, the little white, like doll. Right. I don't know what you call them, frilly things. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. I still didn't think anything of it. I'm like, well, it seems like he's pretty good with art, kind of creative. So that's why, his family was from Syria. So the family was very westernized too. So I'm like, I think they're kind of like those creative thinkers. So the assistant's like, well, I'll try to tell him to wear his socks if we can. I'm like, well, I think it's okay. I mean, we can ask the parents, if you think there's anything wrong with it. Anyway, make a long story short, I don't want to make it too long. The kid kept wearing these socks. And it progressed until under his uniform shirts, you see these colored T-shirts. Like, where is he getting T-shirts from? He had an older sister, but maybe by a year and a half older. And maybe, he looked up to her. And you have
How old was he? How old was he?
4.
Oh, it's
yeah.
Okay.
So 4. So you have to be careful because over there, if they have enough money, if you have like maids, which is very easy there to get maids. The maids are cheap. Compared to here, you say a maid, it's going to cost you arm and a leg, not there. So you can have 1 or 2 maids and be a-okay. But sometimes if you, let's say, if the family doesn't treat the maid right, the maid can do certain little sneaky things, that the parents don't notice. So I said, okay, let's talk to, the parents. We brought the subject up lightly, and they're like, oh no, we let him be creative. Like I thought, let him be creative. And I think he just follows his sister. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, fine. Right. And I love a little kid, and he was a little devilish, but smart at the same time. So in my mind, I was thinking, who would this Raiden be 15 years later, coming to the States and maybe becoming like an architect or something like that. Right. And I always thought, I don't know why, that maybe the parents were hiding something about Raiden. But, there's things that you just don't say or mention, especially over there. So I'm like, okay, you have to let it lie. So I took it on my own imagination. Like, this is who I think Raiden, which in my book is Salim, would be like, And Salim is this individual. Salim is this individual who comes over here. He gets his architect degree. He's then getting his master's, and he's figuring out who he is. He thinks he realizes who he is, and then falls in love with this girl, becomes confused, and he really doesn't know who he is. Okay. And the family is actually hiding who this whole individual is. And he doesn't realize it until he meets this girl. His family comes over for his final graduation, and it brings up all these memories. Right. And so what I do is, it's called the Monkey King, because I take, I like a lot of Asian mythology. So I took this Asian mythology and I mixed it with Western thoughts and ideas, along with Middle Eastern thoughts and ideas. And I came up with this person, I don't want to tell you the whole thing, but with this individual who had a secret. And the mythological creature that I used, the Monkey King, if you read about him, he's in 2 Asian cultures, the Indian and then like East Asia. And so in East Asia, they interpret the Monkey King as being this smart individual born from a rock, and gets smart because he goes and visits this monk. And he had all these powers, and he can do this, he can disappear and whatever else. And one thing he could do is turn into a human. But when he turned into a human, his tail would always show. So he could never keep that secret. Okay. Right. And so there's something about this mythological creature, and this individual Salim comes together. And there's a story that comes out of that, because there's like a curse that's set on his family in the past that kind of intertwines with his life.
So how creative is that? I mean, she came
deep, right?
Yeah, she came up that with just
I need to read that book. I need to. Like that's on. Now
please do let me know what you think of it.
So I know we just got a call in, and I'm pretty sure that was Alfred Battle. And I'm not sure. I'm going to make sure that he calls us back in here. I'm hoping he's looking at the show as well as calling back in. Alfred Battle is actually another guest that we have on the show today.
Okay.
And he's actually, oh my gosh, I've known him since I can talk.
A child?
Yeah, like since I can talk, but he does promotions all over the world.
Yeah.
I mean,
wow.
he's been,
I think I met him through the radio station. Yeah, I know
Exactly.
that.
And that's him now. So let's go ahead and bring him on.
Mhm.
Hi, thanks for joining us on Spotlight of Columbus. Is this Mr. Alfred Battle?
Yes, it is.
How are you?
I'm doing fine, my dear. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I was just telling them about you, and I'm not. And Charles Richardson is here, or Richards, I said Richardson. Yeah,
that's
is
it.
here
Yeah.
today,
Yes, it
and
is.
he actually remembers you from the radio station. I
I'm doing
was
pretty
telling
good,
them how much
Patrice.
you do.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Well, I was letting them know as far as everything. Well, I was going into the things that you that I've known you to do since I was like talking when I first started talking, and I mean, as far as promotions. But he's
Yes,
done.
indeed.
Yeah, he's
Hey, I'm
done.
doing pretty good. How are you?
Can you hear me?
I was a delay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay. But so what I was going over with them as far as everything that you've been doing as far as the promotions, but I want you to start off with talking to us about when I was little and how I'm talking about with the dancing and everything.
It's like, who's talking to you?
I'm
Is
talking
this you,
Patrice. Yes.
Okay, I'm looking at you on the screen, but it's a delayed reaction.
Yeah,
It's okay.
So if you can, you might want, like, I don't know if you want, I know you're looking at me at the
Can
screen.
you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You should stop.
Yeah, it's the radio.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Everything's good.
Yeah.
You should just
So
stop.
you might want to do take the
Turn
radio,
down the
turn the
radio.
radio down
Yeah.
as far as the sound on that, then you'll be able to hear us on the
Gotcha.
phone.
Everything's fine.
Can you hear us?
Yes, loud and clear.
Good. Okay, great. So I was speaking about you and your promotions, but because I've known you since I can talk, want you to
Yes.
want you to tell them how you got started and how I used to be with you and Mom with your dancing and I'd be in the bed, all of that good stuff. We start off with that and then work our way up.
It's amazing because it's so many that combined together created actually when I met you.
Mm-hmm.
The very first way I got started was like in the 50s, like late 59 in Windsor Terrace community. It was brand spanking new. We moved in from the west side in 1959. There was a huge flood on the west side at Central McKinley.
Oh, man.
And our family was one of the families that got flooded out. And so they replaced everybody's home with a brand new place in Windsor Terrace, Columbus, Ohio, in the North End.
Mm-hmm.
And living with us was my uncle, who eventually became famous for the lead singer of Rock the Boat, Don't Rock the Boat.
I remember telling me about that.
That's right, Carl Russell. So he was like our live-in babysitter, which is my mother's baby brother.
Mm-hmm.
And this was pre-Rock the Boat days in the 50s, going into the 60s. So in Columbus on NBC4, they had this show called Jerry Razor's Dance Party.
Mm-hmm.
It was like an early Soul Train, but in Columbus over at the studio over there on Olentangy. And I could not believe when we looked at our TV set, I saw my uncle Carl Russell on TV dancing at Jerry Razor's Dance Party. Patrice, let me tell you, I ran upstairs and got my new school clothes on. I put my trench coat on. I ran back downstairs and got in front of the TV.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just dancing, and I'm looking all around the TV like, I know there's got to be a door because Uncle Carl was just upstairs. So he went and found a way to get into that TV. And girl, I looked all up and down that TV. I went around the back. I was trying to take the back off the TV, and I was looking under the TV, and then my mother came downstairs. Boy, if you don't get them new school clothes off and get your behind back upstairs. I mean, listen, that sparked my beginning of my interest in show business and entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Then fast forward, I was in a singing group we called the Battle Plan. We had our own little group. And we were trying our best to get recognized and noticed, but we could never really get a shot.
Mm-hmm.
On the big stage. We could do all the local talent shows, St. Stephen's, Lynn Moore, Linda McKinley, The Masterpiece, and we would do great doing all those things. And so the Temptations came to the Palace Theater about 69. My mother bought all my group a ticket, and we were on the front row.
Mm-hmm.
I knew then, Patrice, what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. When I saw the Temptations with that 5-man microphone and that choreography,
right?
Oh my goodness! It just opened up a whole new world for me.
Oh,
well, got my little group together, kept going. We started bringing in shows so we could open up. I brought in Red Fox at the Vets with the Wallace brothers, and put my little group to open up the show, and went on and did the OJs. And I had a lot of support from the community in Columbus that really helped propel me to the bigger things I eventually would do. And people like Carl Brown's IGA. I remember that idea. You know, I'm like, huh?
I said, I remember that.
That guy, Carl Brown Jr. over there on Mount Vernon. I went to his store with the idea. Some lady kept saying, you know, you need a sponsor. You need a sponsor. I wasn't familiar with what a sponsor was or even what a sponsor does. So I went to Carl Brown, asked him to be a sponsor. He said, a sponsor of what? I said, I got ideas and dreams. He said, well, everybody has that. I said, but I want to bring in Red Fox to the Vets. He said, oh, now, that's something current. So he got on board, called one of his friends, the Wallace brothers. They had the Wallace brothers car wash on Long Street back in the day. And they got together and became our first sponsors for Battle Plan Promotions. Went and got incorporated right there in Columbus. And we brought Red Fox to the Vets with the Wallace brothers. And, you know, Patrice, it just kept going on and on and on from there. Then, fast forward to about 79, 80, there was a lady named Shirley Hurd that used to work at Echo Family Health Center on Main Street. She was a friend of my mother's. She was working with this magazine company called New Pace Models. They were doing the fashion page, and they had all these beautiful, gorgeous models in Columbus at the time. And they had a lady named Bernita, and they had this choreographer named Addie Coleman. Does that name sound familiar to you?
Yeah, that's my mother.
That's your mother. She was the choreographer for this thing. I hadn't met her yet. So this lady Shirley asked me would I be interested in being a model. I never thought about being a model. I was just an entertainer at the time, but you know, I had 32-inch waist and 45-inch chest and 6'1".
Yeah, I know. You had all the ladies on you. I remember.
You know, looking like I could be a model if I just put my mind to it. So she introduced me to the team, and I auditioned and became a model, a New Pace model. In the process, Addie was our choreographer, and she did a marvelous job on teaching us how to present ourselves on stage, how to walk, how to spin, how to turn, how to put routines together. And they made a major mistake by sending me out to get the clothes and stuff. So send me to Lazarus and take these clothes back. Al, would you mind running these clothes back? And then tomorrow, would you go over to Chess Kings and pick these clothes up and then go down to this store and that store? Well, I began to establish a rapport and a relationship with all the distributors in the city.
Right.
All the manufacturers. And fast forward, the New Pace models did their final show at the Sinclair Hotel over there on Sinclair Road. And now you got 28 beautiful models standing around with nothing to do after the magazine folded.
Oh, yeah.
It was so upset and sad. So me and my bright ideas, I said, well, listen, let's call a meeting. We called a meeting over at the Brittenell Recreation Center for all the models with no place to go. And we decided we're going to start a team called the Best of Beauty Show Team and continue doing where the New Pace models had left off. Well, that's how I began to get involved with the local scene in Columbus on fashions and my connection with the distributors and the major stores and the sponsorships. And as the ball kept rolling, before you know it, I've amassed a network of resourceful people, talented people, and people that believed in my vision and my dream and my energy and my youth and my strength. I didn't have all the education prior to going into this, but I had the guts, the courage, and the insight to try something, even if it was wrong, you know. And I think that's what really helped me. So we tried to get Fat Boys New Edition. This is going to be my real big ticket. Fat Boys New Edition. This is with my own money now. Fat Boys Houdini's New Edition at the vet. I was going with my own money, Patrice. Lost every dime on the show.
Oh.
Lost every dime at the vet. Over $60-something thousand back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And it just took me into a total tailspin. I had no idea what to do next because I hadn't been down that road before.
Right.
So I called my Uncle Carl Russell out in California, who was with RC Records at the time, and I was explaining how depressed I was. He said, well, come on out here, son. Come on out here, nephew. You ain't got to worry about nothing. Come on out here. I flew out to California, gets out off the airplane, walked through the terminal. There's Billy Preston, Ron Isley, Carl Russell, Barry White. All these people are standing there waiting for a little old Al Battle at the airport. I could not believe my eyes. I'm in the circle with people I just admire.
Mm-hmm.
We went to RCA, had a rehearsal house there, and everybody was there. Ike Turner, the Ikettes, and they would, take turns rehearsing in this huge RCA Records house over on Orange Street somewhere in Los Angeles. And I tell you, that just helped me network on a whole nother level. So, I have to give credit to God, Patrice. God is so good. He's always had his hands on me from day one, and he had a plan for me, and it was always inside of me. I just kept digging and honing and digging into myself until I, was able to turn it into a living.
Right. And that's one of the things that I would that I speak about. I think with every show, I think a lot of why I decided to do a lot of things that I did with the modeling, with with now radio, but just everything with putting fashion shows and things together was because of the people I was around with my mom, and he was just telling you about her, and then I was around him. So I mean, she would even put me like where the band when they were doing things, and I would just be hitting a tambourine while they're doing, so she had, when she was in college, and she did African dancing, where she was one of the leads in the African dancing, but she always made sure that I was a part of everything that she was doing because she was so busy. She made sure that I was a part of it, so I would not feel like okay, where's my mom? But I think just like he said, I got the bug where I wanted to do all of these different things, and now at this point now I'm doing the same thing with my children. Like everything that I'm doing, I try to involve them in all of this. But yeah, Alfred Battle was one of them. Maurice Alfred, was another one. Well, he was another one. I mean, these are the people that I was surrounded by growing up, with, doing the promotions. And then, even that, my mom became a police officer, but it never took her away from wanting to do everything, arts wise, with the dancing, with the modeling, with, just fashion, anything that she can, get into as far as with that. She made sure I was a part of, even with ballet. She had me tap dancing, ballet, all of those things. Made sure she was at every recital. I made sure I was at everything that she was at college. So these are the people that I was surround myself with, which is why I say, as far as Columbus, and it's always had that atmosphere as far as the talent, no matter, new talent, old talent, they find a way of still coming back. Now, with Alfred, he's in New York now, but he always comes back home. And I know I can always reach out to him. In all the years that I've been doing this, somehow, some way, I always reach out to him like, okay, I need some advice. Tell me how to do, what I should do this, and tell me how I should do that. And he's always like, okay, this is what you should do. Don't sit on it. Do it now. I mean, he's always been like that with me, and a good supporter. And Alfred, I know you see William, you see how big he's gotten now, right?
Yeah.
So
yes, indeed.
I actually have a question for you because I'm in my transitional period. With that, what do you have for someone that is approaching that transitional period where you actually flew out to California? I'm actually there in that transitional period now. What do you have to say to other people like myself that would be discouraged a little bit, but not as much? But what encouraging words do you have for them?
I think the first one that comes to my heart in my experience is get used to the word no.
Okay.
Get used to that. Get used to the doors being shut. Let that be your motivation. Every time you get a no or not right now or I'll get back to you or no thank you, celebrate. Throw yourself a party because you're going to be tougher on the next one. And I'm going to tell you, once you get past these no's and not right now and I don't think so and it ain't enough and you do a little more, I tell you, it'll happen. It's just a test to see if you really want this. Because if it was so easy, everybody would be doing it.
Right.
This stuff, if it's in your heart, if it's in your blood, if it's in you, the no's are not going to mean nothing. So I'm hoping I'm encouraging someone that if you get out there and you're on your own, you might be with your last $100 or you're sleeping in your friend's couch trying to make something happen. Be positive about it. Create this energy of I'm going to do it. It's going to happen. I will be successful. You must stay positive even when you're down to your last dime or you have to sleep in your car. Don't give up. Don't give up is the key.
Already.
And believe that it's going to happen. Now, listen, at the same time, it's not magic, so you do have to put in work. You have to do your work. You have to get you a list of the people that you're going to contact. You have to clearly define your goal. You have to know exactly what it is that you're going after. You just can't come and say, oh, I can do this and I can do that. I'm a jack of all trades. Well, there's no job open for a jack of all trades. Get in one area or get in 3 areas or get in the areas that you know is your best and work those areas. Go after the people that's doing what you want to do. Set up a lunch meeting with them. Be outside the door when they get off work. Stalk them in a positive way. Stalk them in a positive way because they'll see that as a person that's serious about what they want. Successful people look at those that are trying to become successful in the kind of way as a test. They look at you and say, do you really want this? Because you don't know what I had to go through to get to where I am today. And I'm not just going to give it to you because you're standing here. You're going to have to show that this is something that you really are willing to survive and struggle for. And once you get it, then you'll be happy that the struggle was easy because you got used to saying no and you got used to rejection and you got used to delays and short stops. I hope that is really something that helps somebody because it really helped me. I'm going to give you a short story. When I left Columbus, I took a play with me called The Great Wedding, which I had performed several times in Columbus with those models that I was telling you about. Well, I said, okay, everybody, it's time to go to L.A. I'm going to L.A. I think only 6 out of 30 said, okay, I'm going with you. The rest, man, we're not going to L.A. We ain't got no job. Where we going to stay? I ain't going to get to eat. Who's going to pay for all this? Where we going to do the play at? Is it set up yet? I know. So I had nothing set up, but I had the vision to go. And I made it on out there to L.A. anyway with the play. I got a meeting. I was on Sunset Boulevard at this little restaurant, and there was a man sitting next to me, real quiet, by himself, minding his business. We were eating an avocado salad, and I was hoping that some celebrity would walk in and I could, get some pictures with him or pitch to him, my play. But the guy sitting next to me happened to be the brother of Sammy Davis Jr. And we were talking. He said he just came out of Cincinnati, Ohio. I said, Ohio? I'm from Ohio. Now we got something to talk about. He says, well, what are you doing out here? I said, well, I like to shop this play I got called The Great Wedding. He says, well, my brother, he does stuff like that. This is before he told me who his brother was. He said, my brother does stuff like that. Okay. Think he'd be interested in hearing more about my play? He says, let me call him up and see. He called his brother up. He said, yeah, man, my brother said he would love to look at what you got. I said, okay, give me an address. He gave me an address to a place up in the Hollywood Hills. Girl, we got up there, and it was Sammy Davis Jr.'s house right off of Sunset behind the Hamburger Hamlet. And I couldn't believe my eyes. I took my brother with me, my sisters with me, and we sang and stuff. But I took all my pictures, and I put them all out on the table. And I was so excited about the photos and the play that we did in Columbus. And I'm out here at Sammy Davis's house and pitching my play to him. And he didn't look at the pictures at once. He kept staring at me. So by the time I got through drooling over the work that I did, everybody thinks their baby is so cute. So that was my play. So I thought that was the greatest thing in the world. He didn't even look down at the picture. So when he got finished, he says, okay, Mr. Battle, did you think that I was just going to like muddle all through your photos with you? I was so shocked and embarrassed and insulted. I didn't know what to say. So I'm like, he said, listen, next time, put your pictures in a portfolio. I didn't know what a portfolio was yet. I didn't know what that was. So he said, and by the way, what is it that you want me to do? I don't know. He says, okay, well, see, next time you get a chance to come to the big dance, you got to know what you want. See, I didn't even know to say, yeah, we'll star in my play or be a sponsor or turn this play over to Woody Allen or somebody. I didn't know what I wanted, but I made it to the big dance just out of being out there in California. But you got to know what you want. That's why I say it's important to write your plan down and know what you're going after. Because you'll get the opportunity if you're in the land where this kind of business is everyday business. You know, it's business as usual in California trying to be in entertainment.
Right.
But I didn't know what I wanted. So you got to write it down and have a plan, man, in case somebody, if anybody walk up to me right now and say, Mr. Battle, I got all the money you need. What is it that you want to do? Okay, I got a list. And I got projects, packaged, ready to go. As a matter of fact, it's one of the things I'm doing here right now. You know, life is funny. I've always been a risk taker, you know. Any other questions? Don't make me do all the talking.
Well, one of the things I did want to go over with you is, okay, this past year and during 2018, what can we look forward to looking for as far as with what you're doing and what you've been doing?
Well, you know, as I was saying about being a risk taker, I took a big production over into Africa last year.
I seen that.
2016. We were in Tanzania, Africa, had Bad Boy Family Stars over there. And on my way back into the U.S., I got arrested. And,
no, you didn't tell me that.
Huh?
You didn't tell me that. I didn't know you got arrested.
It kind of stayed on a low, you know, a lot of powerful people in powerful places try to keep it mellow, keep it low.
Right.
But it did happen. But it was big on the East Coast. I mean, we had all the networks, NBC, ABC, CBS, Extra, everybody was at the airport trying to get a story. So, you know, so now I'm working on a deal where I'm going to tell my story to NBC. Well, I'm here at the studio right now, down in the green room downstairs of the studio. We're working on my story. It's called The False Bottom Smuggler, starring my son, Alfie.
Oh, how is he doing?
Awesome.
I haven't seen him for a couple years.
Well, you know, he's a videographer. He got his own company called AB3 Films, and I got him on contract to do the majority of the filming of my story. So, and then we got one called The Schwarzenegger Heist that we're working on. We're trying to package these all together, and the Almost Got Away program has offered me money to tell my story. So we're in the process of packaging this whole my life story for NBC right now.
I can't wait. So
between now and 2018, you'll start seeing some trailers, and I'm talking with Malik Yoba and Regina King to play in the movie too. We had a beautiful meeting yesterday with them too. They like to hear more of the story, and we got the secretaries typing all as fast as I can speak it. They type it. So I'm just doing a lot of good work right now up there on the East Coast. I never did like New York as much as I like California. But, when I took Ted Williams around the country, I found out that New York is almost like business central.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
on no matter where you're at.
Yeah, they get it done in New York. I mean, like L.A., which I love L.A. so much, I'm going to end up making L.A. my home again. They are like, well, you know, let's go to lunch and talk about it about 11. Let's have a meeting, drink some wine about it. New York is like, okay, let's cut the checks right now. Let's do this right now.
Right.
I like New York on that respect.
So when can we see you here in Columbus again?
Well, actually, I'll be in Columbus January 2nd for a couple of days. And then I'll be headed down to Jackson, Mississippi. You know, I do that festival every year in Jackson.
Right.
And from there, we go to New Orleans. So we're actually still working on who we want to present for April of 2018 down south.
Mm-hmm.
No matter where I'm at in the world, I always do send some acts to that festival.
Well, I can't wait to see you. I hope we get to see you before you leave to go back to all these different places. And I'm so glad you gave us the opportunity to speak with you on Spotlight of Columbus today.
Oh, I actually miss Columbus, and I'm gonna tell you something. I think your studio is beautiful. I like you guys. I like the way you guys have it set up. I like the format. I mean, it's so right now. We got to figure out a way to get you syndicated.
Right.
Get all over the
That's
world.
the next step. That is the next step.
Indeed.
And the good thing about it is I got a nice family support here at the studio that's really been supporting me on everything that I'm wanting to do and working to get, done. And of course you are family. You are my family pretty much.
That's right. What we have to do is do some major exclusivity on some big time, big deal President Trump kind of thing, to where your station has the exclusive presentation laid out. So everybody in the world will tune into your station to hear what he has to say, or they have to say, or whoever we can find. I'd be willing to assist you in grabbing something huge like that.
Well, I can't wait. And of course, I'm going to be calling you for more and more as far as advice, because, I've always been like that with you as far as getting advice at least once or twice a year.
Yeah, no problem. My door is always open to you, Patrice. And girl, you're looking so much like your mother.
Oh my gosh, here you go.
Oh my God, it's like, there's Addie all over again. This is spooky.
Well, I appreciate that. I love you. Thank you so much for tuning in. When you come in town, please contact me. I would love to have you actually on the show so we can talk some more. And I know you're busy, and especially in New York, I know you're busy. So I'm going to keep in touch with you, and we will see you soon.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you all. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Again, that was Alfred Battle, one of the best promoters that was here in Columbus, Ohio, and you hear everything that he's doing. I hope anybody that was listening to that today actually got a lot of feedback, because, he has been a very great motivator for me. Now, we're going to come back here in just a second to Spotlight of Columbus with WTMH Radio. Stay tuned.
Face of a cow in the back of his head as he run from the battle. This freak is deep when you ain't got a paddle. When you're high horse, till I remove your saddle. In the grass, we stinkly rat. So I got the juice by the punch bowl. Money call when they call roll. Dollar signs up in your soul. In the winner's circle, cause the loopholes. In love with Nikes, they do anything for checks. Bodybuilders, how they ask about your reps on the set. I've been making moves like I got nothing left to lose. Big red dog, got some boy blues clue. Yelling super when they about to shoot hoop. Your face to feed if you fit the shoot. Tryna put in work life's an interview. Talking beef over grilling like a barbecue. Same grave all falling too. Couple chicks all in the coop. Till a fox get let in the hen house. Raise a 9 while letting 10 out. No change when it register, homie just checked out. Highway your life just had to change routes. Day in the life of the jungle, hair long Rapunzel. Everybody want they shop and fumble. Walk the walk but stumble. You trip and tumble. On the humble pages of virtue provider, time really son you. Mother nature nurture survival. What if it is running the game? I'm switching brain story in my life. Turning pages like a leaf though. God bless me like a sneeze in a cathedral. Or baptisms in a steeple. Door of opportunity looking up through the people. Say you got drive, but like I repo. You drive this guy repo. Well, I got the juice by the punch bowl. Money call when they call roll. Dollar signs up in your soul. In the winner's circle, cause the loophole. Said I got the juice by the punch bowl. Money call when they call roll. Dollar signs up in your soul. In the winner's circle, cause the loophole. It's out of the chest like target employees. We try and put in work, they target employees. Black men in the concrete, jungle in danger. Walk out the house in danger. Police says where you going? I told me don't talk to strangers. The toe tag, John don't no name you. Black man life so dangerous. Treat you like new clothes and hang you up strange. Fruit swinging, swinging, swing, swing. Like little kids in the park, they tell me sounds is golden and me and that money talk. Get on the road to riches, they setting up roadblocks.
So what to do? Red and blue, they spot blue and red. Men in blue, see us, they see in red. Gunshot, Miranda rights never read. Misunderstood, he not be said. I see the flag, do not pledge, take a knee. You be spike, graduation, get on stage, say my piece. Drop the mic, it's food for thought to those on a hunger strike. We drive to those who always will. Hitchhike my wheel, deal with it like a pencil. Want you to put hands on the ground like cartwheels. The race still banana clips to get peeled. Wanna roll by myself like a third wheel. I'm dropping lines and talking about big reels. Cause my life a motion picture belong in a big reel. Lights, camera, action, I've been lit for a while. These shit, I've been, man, that pal by the mouth. Got the juice by the punch bowl. Money call when they call roll. Dollar signs up in your soul. In the winner circle, cause a little pole. Said I got the juice by the punch bowl. Money call when they call roll. Dollar signs up on your soul. In the winner circle, cause a little pole. Thinking about the struggles, always on the hustle, but tonight's the night. Dedicated, but super agitated.
And thanks again for tuning in to Spotlight of Columbus on WTMH Radio. Guys, I know you remember a couple weeks ago when I couldn't even get that out the way it is now, that I was getting made fun of from Capone back then. I would try to say it, I'd be like,
You almost got it.
I got it. But just we're coming back, and we're going to come back to Amira and Charles and talk to you guys as far as the things that's coming up and what you're about to do to actually round out the year, finish the year out. So we're going to start off with the book signing on Saturday.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the book signing is going to be at the Social Club, an event center. It's off South Hamilton Road.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be this coming Saturday, the 16th, between 4 and 8 o'clock. And we're going to have books available.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to have some entertainment as well.
Okay.
Book reading.
And a book reading that Amira's famous for.
So which book are you going to be reading from?
The Naked Lady.
Right.
Okay. I remember that one, yes. So that's going to be from 4 to 8?
Yeah, 4 to 8 o'clock.
Okay.
And there's no cover charge. You can come in and just experience the
the books are going to be available at there for people to buy. And how much are the books?
Well, the books are retail for one is $15 and one is $20, but we're going to do like a discount 2 for $25, something like that. So you get both books, because I feel that they do interact. So it's best to get two if you can. But if not, like I said, both books kind of stand alone. I think Naked Lady stands alone a little better because there's some unanswered questions in the first book that are answered in the second book. Yes,
in the second.
Yes.
Right. Okay. And as far as Monkey King, will you have that there? Are you gonna?
Please.
I will try my best. I may have a few. I have a few.
Or,
I have a few.
I mean, because I know we're talking about it now, but I mean, I know, because that was from just a little boy, you got that whole story, and that's what I want to talk. I mean, the creativity, to even come up with a book like that, and then is there any other books that you're thinking of? Because I know you're thinking that's all you want to do is write. Have you got some other ideas that's coming up along?
Yeah, I'm actually already working with a good friend of mine, and again, it has to do with I guess kind of international reach, because her background is from Iran, and she wants to do a story about royalty, family, and culture, and ties to the West, and how an individual can change from one culture to the next and struggle with that, but through a kind of historical in-depth story. But while we're working on that, I'm going to do my own thing. I have a collection of short stories coming up, which is really what I love to do. I love the short stories, tell it short and sweet, leave people guessing. So hopefully something with that, and we'll see. Maybe later on a little sequel to The Naked Lady.
Because you gotta end it.
Oh, I love that.
How it ends, yes.
So when you're okay, so other than being able to get it at the book signing, where else can they get the book?
It's available. Both books are available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and then the Naked Lady is available on Exlibris. It was just the publisher of this particular book.
Okay.
Now, one of the things I wanted to share too is that I am going to do a book, probably my last book, but it's going to be on my radio.
This is what he's been saying.
Yeah, that's my passion. And like what Al was talking about, I think one of the things I always try to share is, you have to find what you're passionate about and your purpose. And I've read somewhere where it says, the two most important things in life are dates: the day you were born and the day you found out why you were born. Right. And that's when you could get into that. Yeah, you can really have a passion about creating it and then doing it. So this book, and I've been totally blessed in my career. I started in radio back in the 70s. And it was when Black ownership came into fruition, where most times when they had urban stations that were like white owned and operated, the DJs were white with Black names. So when I got into it, it was Black people taking it. Right, it was real. Yeah, it kept it real. And like I said, I met some legendary people. I don't know if you heard of the Sutton family, Percy Sutton, who was the borough president of Manhattan in New York, and he started this inner city broadcasting company with his friends, which were just legendary people in the Black community in New York. And the company expanded to over, I think, 8 stations, and they finally sold them. And then working with Radio One, which is the biggest, it's a publicly held company, so it's not really Black owned and operated, but the principals are African American.
Right.
And but the sad thing about Black radio is that it's going back to where it was. Now, basically, the general market or white companies are running Black stations, and it's not the way it used to be. It's not a priority to them.
Exactly.
So so my book will talk about the good times and the bad times and what's happening now. And I think it's really great that we have radio stations like this.
Yeah, because it gives them that outlet again that we're losing in
commercial radio.
Commercial radio, exactly.
Yeah, that's right. So this is just a great opportunity to get the word out, and I appreciate again the opportunity to be here.
I appreciate both of you coming. I truly do. Because I've been waiting, I got to talk about the book now. So with that being said, of course, we were talking about we really want to invite you to our New Year's Day party. If we would love to have you. Yes, I will have my homemade banana pudding there that the kids will share.
Okay.
Yeah, they will share.
His face was serious for a second.
They will share. And while we're at it, I know I had talked to my son, and this is something I decided to bring up just now, that he had brought to my attention that him and Meech has actually talked with somebody, a couple of people from BET. And go ahead and tell them.
So this was supposed to be under wraps, but there is an opportunity to actually work with BET on a television show. We'll be doing the music for Tales. It's called Tales.
Okay.
And it's about I know it's about an officer and the life of that and him being Black and everything like that. So it does and the offer, I'm usually not subject to certain offers like that, but I feel like giving the situation now and with
the opportunity
us being Black,
right,
we need more strength in that, and it is strength in numbers.
Absolutely.
So it actually, thank you for bringing that up. It gravitated towards my views and a lot of things that I've been pushing for. A lot of being basically awareness of our culture, our power, and the belief system that we can make it.
Right.
So I think that was the best opportunity that ever fell in my lap. So it was a blessing.
So, and which is what what Alfred was talking about, and he was talking about, because he seemed kind of leery when he was talking to me about it. Like, I don't know how to come at this, Mom. You know, I'm going to need your help. And I was like, the help is you're going to go for it.
That's right.
That's
right.
the help. That's about the help, and I will be right there. Seriously. You know, to push you and Don Meach to where you need to be. But there is no question. It's not about if, it's about when.
That's right.
So, and that's one of the things that, like I said, I mean, I'm proud of him and Don Meach. That's my adopted son.
Okay.
Pretty much, as far as, everything that they're getting out there. And again, it's about, the opportunity I do get on, I want them to make sure that they network no matter what, because that's part of getting where you need to be too. If you're not doing the networking, you're not going to know who and how to speak with people and who to talk to, just if it's just like, Alfred said, is just sitting by somebody and then getting that opportunity because, you were right there when you needed to be.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm just, my thing is I get excited, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this show, because I do get excited when I hear, story, things like that.
Yeah.
And then even with, how long you've been in the business and how you're still there and how the passion that you have. I mean, your story with the little boy, 4 years old, and having, and that was, I mean, that is a creative mind. And we have so many creative minds out there that don't even know. Right. What their capabilities are because they're scared to go for it. Step out. There you go. Step out in faith. Right. So anybody, that has listened to this show today, I hope it gave you some encouragement. I know we didn't get the calls, today, but I know, like I said, every show that we have is going to be just like this encouragement. I want you to actually let the audience know if they do want to get in touch with you, reach out to you as far as, anything, even if it's a mentor. Okay. How would they reach out to you?
Well, we have 2 websites. I'll say mine. It's CharlesHRichardson.com, and you'll see a bio of both of us and the stories of my life in terms of how I got to where I am now. And then we have a website with this book, The Naked Lady, and it's Richardson and Kid.com. Richardsonkid.com. So again, it'll be more about our background and the opportunity to get in touch with us. That's our contact information.
And make sure to share it with us, because we can actually link it in on WTMH radio too.
Okay, so I'll send it to you.
We actually have that as well.
One of the things I wanted to mention too about my book, the thing that hopefully the model that the motto, I got my Bronx accent slips out, but don't ignore the red flags in relationships and opportunities. There's always red flags, and if you get too starry-eyed or where you don't look at these things, these signals, you need to recognize those. If you're in a bad relationship, just because it seems like it's good,
it's not all that rose.
These other things that happen, and you need to take note of that. And that goes not only personal, but also professional.
Exactly. Especially with all the stories that's coming out now about all these different, and it's not just women that, you're hearing about it, the men too, how they're starting out, young, and, they've been put in all these different positions. And I'm so glad it's finally coming out, because it's not like it was really a secret.
It was always there.
But it was always there. It's just one person, one person finally decided, I don't want this anymore.
Right.
It's enough.
I agree.
And that just got the ball rolling. And I love that, and I'm hoping, again, with the young people today, that they're even seeing these things with even the stars have to go through this. They've gone through it, and they've had to deal with, certain situations, and it hasn't been all rosy and peachy cream, with a lot of them, and that's unfortunate, because you do have these people that feel like they're entitled, and we have to make sure that they know that no, you're not entitled. This is
accountability.
Exactly, and they need to be held accountable for the things that they're doing.
But adversity also makes you strong.
Exactly.
And you have to learn from those lessons. And I think that was the key in terms of my life. I always asked God, I said, God, I'm tired of these tests. I want to do a testimony. And now I'm at the point where I can start doing that testimony.
And it's so funny that you had already wrote this book And then all of this stuff started just coming out the woodwork. And I'm like, that book just told it all. All of them women need to read this book because, you know, and you know, so, you know, or the younger generation that wants to be out there. They need to read this book first. Just you know, so just like you said, so they know the red flags. They know, you know, even you know, because if you already have it in your mind and you already know the red flags, you know how to deflect from it before it even gets started.
That's right.
Yeah. Absolutely. So again, I really appreciate you guys coming to the show. Spotlight.
Appreciate you for inviting us.
I really do want you guys to come back on everything. I want to collaborate with you on everything that you're doing. Of course, I'm working with my uncle Alfred, you know, on some things that he's doing because he's really wants to make sure that, you know, my radio station succeeds, you know, too, you know, and not just my show, but just like he said, the whole radio station. And I love that about him because he does
syndication too.
Exactly. That's what he's been talking to me about. And when he comes back, he wants to talk to me about some ideas and bring it to the radio show. And that's what I love about him because he's not just thinking of me. He's thinking of my, you know, my extended family as far as making sure we succeed because he sees the potential. Believe me, if he didn't, he'd be like, no, yeah, you already know what I'm going to say. And yeah, he's very, very blunt. If he doesn't think it's good, he was like, and he'll challenge me. Like, this is what I want to do. Well, what are you getting started to do? What are you doing to get to that point?
Right.
And I'm like, well, it took you too long to say anything.
Just so you know, it took you too long.
Yeah, it took
I
me too long.
I remember that time I did it.
Yeah, like, you know, when I told him, I was like, okay, like when Tyra Banks had her show, I was like, I want to do a show like Tyra Banks, but I want to do it here in Columbus. He was like, how have you got started? I was like, well, I know certain people. He was like, what people? Who are you networking with? Do you know their names? Do you have their cards? Have you already started making the calls? And I'm like, well, give me a chance. He was like, no, there is no chance. You don't have time to wait. This is what needs to be done.
Like it's a marketing plan. It's almost marketing.
Yeah. So if this is what you're talking about doing it, and you want to do it here, and you do have you have the support,
resources,
the resources, do it. You know, and next thing I know, you know, little by little, I was doing, you know, the little things, and I even, you know, I was like, well, I don't know when I call, how am I supposed to say this? He's like, you call, you tell them how you are, and you sound confident. If you start sounding like you're not sure about yourself, you're gonna get a hang up.
That's right.
And you're gonna get to know, and then you'll call back again, and you'll get to know. But then that first time that I got in touch with, I was happy just to get in touch with Tyra Banks' you know, person, people. You know, and I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. So. And next thing I know, she didn't come, but her models started coming. You know, I mean, like Dominique. He loves Dominique. Yeah, Dominique. She hosted fashion shows for us that we did here, and I love her to death. I mean, she's crazy and outrageous, but yeah, she is awesome. And we had.
Is she here? Is she based here?
Yeah, she actually got married here. She's based here in Columbus now. She came back. And Michael Knight from Project Runway, rest in peace. You know, he passed away from a stomach virus. He was going on. Yeah. But he was one of our first hosts.
Wow.
For a fashion show that me and Denise Walls, put together for another company, that we worked.
How long have you been doing this?
Actually, I just started.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
No.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes. 3 weeks.
That's pretty good.
And the thing about it, that's what it was. It dropped in my lap.
Okay.
Yeah, it kind of dropped in my lap because my focus was, and it, which is still my focus is, I'm working with CW as far as, putting the show, on actually, TV. And they're happy about it. My goal right now, though, is I have to make sure I have those sponsors that'll pay for it.
Right.
So that's what I'm working on now with that. But in the same, aspect, we have, the same thing here. They just put together a TV station downstairs or upstairs. I keep wanting to say downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
They where I can actually still do a show YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But if you notice, you're still I'm noticing that you get a better fan base when you have the YouTube, the internet, and everything else. You can get your fan base here as far as commercial wise, but you with the numbers, and you see the numbers coming in as far as internet and everything like that, it's worldwide. because it's everywhere. Talking about Dubai, everywhere. People can see these things. But like I said, I've already got the agreement. They've already said yes on the show. It's just now it's about me actually getting the sponsors, and then I'm going to set a set time where we can actually do the show there. So yeah, I'm just happy about that as well.
You should be.
So the song that you're getting ready to listen to, and I get he started it and then he stopped it.
Well, yeah,
You're gonna start.
It was kind of loud.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I want you. This is one of the
I want to hear
songs
this.
he put together with Mitch. So we're gonna go out with that song tonight. And I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in today. Please tune in again next Monday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. We'll see you soon. Thank you for joining Spotlight of Columbus on WTMH Radio.
Defend himself from what? From what? What was he defending himself from? Tell me that. Some of you motherfuckers think this is a joke.
This ain't no game. For real.
They straight, they think this a fucking joke. We with you, baby. We with you. They want him back in Ferguson. I can't get nobody back.
R.I.P. to the ones we lost.
Y'all wrong.
Hands up, hands up. No justice, no peace.
Anybody ever don't think so?
Does anybody care for the pain of the mothers? Does anybody care for the tears that be running down their cheeks? Cause they baby just got killed in these streets by the people that's supposed to protect and serve. But that's not what they do. They rather point and shoot and fix the situation after your soul is levitating. Man, I'm hating the world that I'm living in. It's full of sin, full of darkness. Where is the light? They supposed to be the ones to read us our rights, but how can they when they not even doing right? All they wanna do is take a life. But we wrong if we stand and fight. Man, I can't stand the sight of the government. Babies dying, mamas crying, criminals getting off, and they loving it. R.P. to Mike Brown, Trayvon, got my hoodie on, ready to get my snack on. Cause I'm a renegade and I'm not afraid to say what's on my mind any given time of day. Cause Lord knows they could've did it in a better way, but they chose a different route and they thought of each bullet before they let them come out. Now you knew what you was doing before you even did it. And you know you should pray for them crimes that you committed. And you know you was wrong, but your ass still did it. Lord, I pray for the innocent, and I pray that they souls was heaven sent. And I pray for the parents that's so caring for their loved ones, cause I know they on their knees and they cannot breathe. So I pray to you, Lord, help us, please.
Why you gotta lie? Why they gotta die? Mama on the corner screaming, why like this? No mother should ever look at a child like this. Nobody should ever hurt a child like this. I can't breathe. No, I can't breathe. Said I can't breathe. No, I can't breathe. I can't breathe.
Nah, looking over my shoulder. I didn't do anything wrong, that's what I told you. You don't listen to the ground, yeah, you just fold them. Cause we seem to be at the bottom of this here totem. Don't matter the age, man, your rage, man, and your fear, man. Get the best of you, man. And yeah, I'm talking to the man, cause I want y'all to understand. No longer puppets here, man. Cause all this dying can't be in the plan. This dying can't be in the plan. Got blood in the streets, it's a shame. Can we stop at sheets? Influenced by way of living, say it will make you a beast. But talking about selling poison ain't the way to breach. These young minds, they spending time living lies. Say that it can get you money, yeah, your future looking bright. But remember, quick money always comes with a price. Sooner or later, that price will be realized. Follow the Lord and your path will be realized. Yeah.
Follow the Lord and your path will be realized. Young minds is spending time living life. Follow the Lord and your path will be realized.
I have a dream. One day, this nation will rise up, live up the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
R.P. to Trayvon, R.P. to Mike Brown, R.P. to everybody who ain't getting no love before this died down. Civilians are getting killed, homie. The law committing crimes now. Soon we all gonna be in trouble. It's only a matter of time now. So if anybody's saying I'm wrong, tell them zip it up as if they fly down. Got me nervous even when I drive home. Just because I'm black, I'm making shot down. Speaking to them in the wrong tone, things get escalated, raising eyebrows. Get recorded cause you got your phone on. No indictment, but you might get 5 rounds. That's real. Man, I told you that I'm fed up. Gotta tell my homies, try and keep your head up. Everybody out here always getting set up. Will it ever let up? Cause even if you put your hands up and you say you give it, man, you might get wet up. They ain't even think about using their handcuffs, and it's true. And I can't go blame every cop, but if we don't do something now, all this crime will never stop. Protest after protest over those who protect us. Yeah, shoot to kill and arrest us. You committed crime, keep it best tucked. Hey, I seen both the good and the evil. I met great men who have badges, love protecting their people. I've seen civilians kill others because finances ain't equal. Those sides have got to change. I pray that my message can reach down.
Why you gotta lie? Why they gotta die? Mama on the corner screaming, why like this? Nobody should ever look at a child like this. Nobody should ever stare at a child like this. I can't breathe. No, I can't breathe. Said I can't breathe. No, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Why they gotta lie? Why they gotta die? Mama on the corner screaming, why like this? Nobody should ever look at a child like this. Nobody should ever stare at a child like this. I can't breathe. No, I can't breathe. Said I can't breathe. No, I can't breathe. I can't breathe.